Hello, welcome back and thank you for staying tuned. Here we want to look at how to use the method of completing the square to solve the quadratic or a quadratic equation when a, that is the coefficient of the first term, is not 1. So for example, we have here the equation 3x squared minus 2 minus x, minus 2 is equal to 0, and then you're told to solve by the method of completing the square. Now notice that in this case, the first term has a coefficient which is not 1, so the coefficient here is 3. So how do you go about it? So the solution, so the first thing in this case is to make the coefficient 1. Is to make this coefficient 1. And how do we do that? By dividing the equation through all the terms by the 3. So that in this case, what we'll have after dividing by 3 through by 3. So we divide by 3 because 3 is the coefficient of x squared. If it was any other number, we would divide by that number throughout the equation. So that the first step we'll have now x squared minus x over 3 minus 2 over 3 is equal to 0 over 3. Okay, we divide everything. Remember, this is an equation, and whatever we do on the left hand side must be done on the right hand side too. And of course, now we know this reduces any 0 divided by any number is 0. Then our second step is to take the constant part to the other side of the equal sign, so that we'll have x squared on the left hand side minus x over 3 now is equal to 0 that we had earlier on plus 2 over 3. We have taken this negative to the other side, negative 2 over 3, the constant part to the other side. So it will be 0 plus 2 over 3, which is simply 2 over 3. Then the third step in this case would be to complete the square of the left hand side. To complete the square, remember what we have here is now x squared minus 3 minus x over 3 is the part of the quadratic expression that we have on the left hand side. So what we have to do is to complete the square on the left hand side. And how do we go about it? Now we'll have our x squared now minus x over 3, and then plus, when we complete the square, the last term will always be squared, so it has always to be a plus. Now what we do, we take half the coefficient of the middle term here, which is this. The coefficient of x here is negative 1 over 3, or we can say 1 over 3. So half of 1 over 3 would be, correct, you're right, 1 over 6. So we take half of 1 over 3, which is 1 over 6, and square it. Now whatever we do on the left hand side must also be done on the right hand side. So on the right hand side we add 2 over 3. So what have we added on the left hand side? 1 over 6 squared. Okay, which is now 2 over 3 plus 1 over 36. Then the fourth step is to factorize the left-hand side. Do you remember what we said? We consider this first term, get its square root, which is x. Then go to the third term, the last term here, which now is 1 over 36. Take the square root of 1 over 36, in this case, which is 1 over 6. And then ask yourself, what do we put in between? We come and check up here. Do we have a negative up there? Yes, we do. If we have a negative, then we must have a negative here. If there were no negative, we would just have had a positive here. Now, the factorized form of the left-hand side therefore becomes x minus 1 over 6, everything squared. So we factorize the left-hand side and simplify the right-hand side. The right-hand side, when simplified, 2 over 3 plus 1 over 36, that becomes the LCM there is 36, so and 3 goes to 36, 12 times 2 is 24, and then we have 24 plus 1, 25 over 36 when the right hand side is simplified. And then the fifth step in this case will be to find the square root of both sides. And why do we need to find the square root of both sides? Remember here we want to find the value of x, but we have x minus 1 over 6, everything squared. So in order to release this 1 over 6 to go to the other side, then we must first of all find the square root on the left hand side, which in this case will have something like this: x minus 1 over 6 squared is equal to, remember, whatever is done on the left hand side must also be done on the right hand side, because this is an equation, over 36. And again, as we said earlier, we'll have plus or minus 5 over 6. The square root for quadratic purposes, quadratic equations, you'll realize that quadratic equations have two solutions, and that's why when we are looking for the square root, we have to take both the positive and the negative value. So in this case now we have x minus 1 over 6 is equal to plus or minus 5 over 6. What this means is that x is either 1 over 6, when we take this negative 1 over 6 to the other side, it becomes positive. Either 1 over 6 plus 5 over 6, or the same x is equal to 1 over 6 minus 5 over 6. Remember, on the right hand side we had plus or minus 5 over 6. So the first value is 1 over 6 plus 5 over 6, or the next value is 1 over 6 minus 5 over 6, which therefore means, when you simplify this, that x is equal to 1 over 6 plus 5 over 6 is 1, or x is equal to, now when you have 1 over 6 minus 5 over 6, that leaves you with 2 with the negative 4 over 6, which when simplified gives you negative 2 over 3. Negative 2 over 3. And these are the solutions to the equation by the method of completing the square. Remember, we were looking at this scenario where the coefficient of x, the a value, is not 1. So in this case, it was 3. So if it is not 1, the first step, as you've seen, you always divide through by that coefficient. And that's what we did here. And that's what brought us all the way to what we have here as our solution. Thank you so much for staying tuned. Please subscribe, like, make a comment if you have any, and you can share with your friends. Till next time, bye-bye and stay safe.